So we'll briefly kind of go into what Bismarck Analysis is. So it's a consulting firm that investigates the political and institutional landscape of society. You mentioned a little bit at the beginning about kind of making your life this, and it's just kind of part of it, which is great. But then kind of let's talk about what exactly is almost, why is it needed? Why are some, not just for the to employ fellows in academia or to have a consulting firm, et cetera, but like what exactly is it that kind of does the theory to practice? That's what I kind of want to hone in on for you specifically in Bismarck. So I guess just kind of set the tone and then maybe riff on that.
Right. There are three layers to this. The first layer is I think we live in a society that is significantly disconnected from its current material conditions, where we are undersupplied when it comes to social technology, innovation, and reform. And we are, in fact, in a society that has many mature, decaying, failing organizations where it's very much unclear that they will be replaced by new functional institutions. So, in that setting, it is an opportunity to be able to assist functional institutions or help bring them about. So that's sort of like the pro-social aspect of why I'm motivated to create like a consulting firm that interfaces with actual individuals and governments, right? Ultra high net worth individuals, like governments, like nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations, to try to help improve the institutions a little bit, right? On the margin, push our society there. Compare
That's how you're trying to help.
Well, totally. Compare it to just publishing a book, which I'm also doing, but. It's sort of like I feel the sin of academia is, you do your research, you write your paper, you chug it over a wall, you assume that it'll be applied, and there's no one on the other side of the wall.
I know, and then it's just you're looking over, is it over? Yeah,
right.
That's hilarious.
So that's the first aspect. The second layer of this is the client-side layer. There are many, many people who have made their money in material technologies, or let's say information technology being a subset of that.
Yes.
Right? Tech has made a lot of money. It has shaped the world, but it has created questions it doesn't always know how to resolve. So we are here to provide basically in-depth review of entire industries, such as we did with the machine tool study for someone that might want to pivot from just bits to atoms or something like this. And we also provide these sort of analyses of particular organizations where you might not be sure exactly, well, how should I approach the Swiss government if I had an interesting proposal for collaboration, how to enhance the technology sector there, if I want to create a competitor to London, in the European context, London's kind of the IT center of Europe, or how would I fundraise with Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, or what are the odds that this particular government is going to nationalize my factory if I build a factory there. So we do this type of political forecasting, like related to political stability. We do this sort of fundamental analysis of large bureaucracies where we predict their behavior. So people will hire us to like do predict things about their competitors or regulatory organs and how to best approach them. And then finally, we also do this type of philanthropic work, right? Where say clients might be interested in what can I do as someone who has already made their money and I want to shape the world in a pro-social way. Say if they're extremely worried about artificial intelligence, they might be interested in the history of weapons regulation treaties, such as, and more interestingly, what an individual rather than a country can do to try to help bring them about, to have something like the equivalent of a landmine ban, if landmine bans even work. You don't know this unless you're like a small professional and it's like really tiny field of not even bleeding edge, it's like obscure. It's a random political field, right?
It's very esoteric.
So we love doing stuff that's cutting edge, that's very, that's unique, that's like this type of applied research you can't get anywhere else. We basically fill these gaps that other companies don't provide. So I'm very happy to say from my perspective, have no competitors. That's what I actually think makes it great business. At least it has been a good business for the last 4 years. But then let's talk about the final layer. I already explained now the client layer, the pro-social layer. The final layer is an epistemic one, where I think that how do you actually incentivize, say you think history is mostly driven by elite developments, right? How are you going to get elites to offer themselves up to study? You're like,
care about it, et cetera.
Right. You're like, hey, I'm an anthropologist. I would like to know how closed-door deals happen. That's not going to work, right? That's not going to work at all. So there's in fact like a bunch of intellectual dark matter, right? stuff that really, really matters,
Yep.
where the literature will be kind of wrong as to how it's done because the literature will record the official story rather than any real observation. So I needed a way to become not just a scholar, but a practitioner. And the consulting relationship and work with our clients and work with my intellectual colleagues, that enables that. And that caused me to have more confidence in my conclusions and also see when my conclusions need revision, when my thoughts need revision and improvement.